it is. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be doing, finally, Sonic 2. That's right, the sequel to the titular movie based off the titular game, Sonic the Hedgehog. We're going to be talking about all the things. We're going to be talking about the Robotniks, the Jim Carreys, the Knuckles, and the Idris Elbas. All of them things, botched weddings. It's going to be a whole fantastic festival of other F words, because alliteration's hard for me. So if you want to, if you want to find out what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and tune on in to the first ones to die.
Hey everyone, welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. What is up? I hope you're having a great week. My name is Jonathan. I'm here with Alex and Jerome. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I quit my job. I've told you guys, but I'm telling everybody now.
You were very excited to say that.
I am happy to say I quit my job. It was not a good situation. I was going to try to stay at it longer, but I realized, I wouldn't do everything. I wouldn't do certain things for money. I learned that about myself. Self-preservation. I'm very proud. I learned that word this week too. So that's been a big part of my week, and kind of going over what I want to do and kind of throwing myself more into this podcast, doing more editing, more video clips, and started blogging about this too, because, well, I'm an unemployed millennial. What else am I supposed to do? The blog. On the sad news, my fish did pass, because so one was sick and then the other two were sick, and then I put them in the tank together and they got a little better, but I think ultimately they were just very sick fish. So those guys are gone, and Cheddar's living life again as the only pet in the house. He realizes he does.
R.I.P. to the fish.
I'm about to say, sure, it's not a conspiracy. He's just slowly.
I don't. He seems to have not like.
Some...
He's not climbing over things. The background's no longer a jungle gym. He seems to be calmer, so it might be. But other than that, it's been a weird week, but not a bad week. In the end, it's been a good week for me. What about you guys? How you guys doing, Jerome? Instead of bouncing back and forth, Jerome, how you doing?
I'm good. Been still watching Moon Knight. Will say, better episode this week. Really good episode this week.
I heard this episode broke a lot of people's hearts.
It did. It was very sad. I was honestly surprised at how dark it got for this to be. I mean, I know it's Marvel, but still, it's made by Disney, so it's basically a Disney show. But it was really good. And I'm glad to see, because I remember that was the two things I wanted out of the Moon Knight show was Moon Knight, which we haven't really gotten a lot of that. But the second thing, and they were very big on it, was that this show was going to take seriously and really work on the struggle of having dissociative identity disorder. And this episode especially put that at the forefront, which the whole show has kind of put that at the forefront. And I think that's really majority of what they wanted to focus on, as opposed to the Moon Knight stuff. My biggest thing is, then why didn't you market it that way? Because they marketed it as like a superhero show, and then the superhero is barely in it. But the DID part has been a big feature for the entire show. So I'm glad to see them like taking it seriously, doing it very well. Especially because very few writers do it very well with the Moon Knight book. But that's because for them, the priority is making a superhero comic first and foremost. And the DID stuff is in the background. So it's kind of interesting to see it be the reverse for the TV show. But other than that, though, been good in a normal week. I'm super excited to be continuing doing the Milestone Initiative. We'll be in Burbank next week, so you will not hear my lovely voice next week, listeners, because I'll be in Burbank, California, spending some time with my classmates, as well as some awesome DC folks. So super excited to do that with them.
And you, Jonathan, how's your busy week going?
Busy. But it's been good. I'm glad the week, as we're recording currently, is almost over. I'm happy for some relaxation. There was something filming today. That's it. That's all I'll say. Also, this happened last week, actually, I think, that I found out about it, but I forgot to bring it up on the podcast last week. But have you guys heard, do you guys remember the show, The Brothers Garcia, that was on Nickelodeon in the early 2000s?
Yeah,
I remember the name, but I don't really remember the show too much.
It was about a family, a Latino American family, and the three brothers with one sister. I used to watch that show all the time as a kid. I just found out randomly by like watching the news or something. I think it was like a spot on the news that they are rebooted on HBO Max, and I had no idea. It's called The Garcias instead of The Brothers Garcia. It's called The Garcias now, and it's apparently them and the brothers and the sister. I think they all have families of their own, and they get together. So I am adding that to my watch list, and definitely will be watching that. And yeah, the advertising it for was trash because I had no idea.
I've seen it, actually. I haven't watched it, but I've seen it on HBO Max. I've seen The Garcias, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that is.
Yeah, so that's the reboot of the Nickelodeon show.
Yeah, I'm speaking of HBO Max, I'm excited, but also a little like scared because I don't know what I'm gonna see. But
really quick though, my internet is unstable, so for anybody watching this on YouTube and probably listening, I'm gonna just disappear for a minute again this week. Because already a few times it's gone really bad, patchy, and I thought I was gonna get kicked off. So just heads up with that. But continue.
As We Own the City comes out, it's already come out now, the first episode anyway. So I'm excited to watch that because it looks really good, but also scared in that, like, it's for those who don't know what it is a show about the Baltimore police unit. I think specifically like one of the most corrupt units that was out, I think, during like the 2000s. And it's all based off real stories, like from different people, based off a book. I forget the name of the book, but it was a book written by a Black journalist who interviewed a lot of different people, both in and outside the unit, hearing these stories. And so they made a show based off that. So I'm scared in the sense of like, I don't know how far this show is going to go. But it stars John Bernthal. It looks really good. Excited to see what it's going to be about or how it's going to go.
Nice. Well, I am interested to see how this podcast is going to go in talking about Sonic 2. That's right. We watched Sonic. Alex, I know you want to say something. I know you want to say something.
No, both of you. No. You two. Like, both of you have this look, and I'm like, is there an argument brewing that I'm not aware of? I'm like, am I going to start something? It's one of those, like, when you see on TikTok, am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. But like the both of your faces at the same time, I was like,
I was looking like that because I could tell Jerome wanted to have something to say about my transition.
Oh, I was just like, my brain saw you guys, like, you guys had similar face, and I was just like,
I didn't say anything.
Is there like an argument waiting to happen that I'm like not? I'm sure there's something I'm going to argue in here, but you know,
right.
I didn't know if you guys knew what I was going to argue about ahead of time. Anyway, continue.
Do the thing.
Yes. Let me be professional and pull up the actual Sonic the Hedgehog 2 information. So, according to this website here, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is a 2022 action-adventure comedy film based on the video game franchise published by Sega and sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog. Directed by Jeff Fowler, written by Pat Casey. It stars James Marsden, Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic, Tika Sumpter, Natasha Rothwell, Adam Paley, Shamar Moore, and of course, Idris Elba and Jim Carrey. So if this is your first time listening to one of our reviews, how we typically do this is we first give our non-spoiler thoughts, then we'll warn you that we're going to spoilers, and we'll talk about the spoilers of the film. So first, Jerome, overall thoughts. What did you think of the film?
I thought it was fun. I like it. I think it's very cute, much like the first one. I remember when I heard the casting of Idris Elba as Knuckles, I was like, I have no clue how that's going to go. Because, and it's just because I grew up watching the Sonic cartoons, both the old cartoon and Sonic X. So I'm used to Knuckles having a very like anime, yeah, I'm Knuckles, that type of gruff, like cartoony voice. Which Ben Schwartz, he's already got a cartoony voice, so that fits Sonic. Idris Elba, that's not quite him. But it actually works. Like the comedy they do with Idris Elba as Knuckles, but even just the serious moments too, he's really good as Knuckles. But thinking of the cartoon voices, I am glad they got the original voice actress who plays Tails, like in all of the games and stuff. Or I don't know if she's the original, but she's currently playing Tails in a lot of the new games coming out. They got her to do the voice for Tails in this. So I was like, that's really cool. There's a lot of great references to the games in this, which are really funny and really interesting. And I love the plot of Sonic, like what he's doing in this story and how it kind of ties back to the old games, which is really kind of cool. My only major issue with this film is the human characters, excluding Jim Carrey. And it's not because the human characters are bad, it's that they're unnecessary. Like they were necessary in the first movie because Sonic didn't have a supporting cast. They were the supporting cast, so it made sense. But now that you have Sonic having his supporting cast in the movie, they're unnecessary. They're not needed. And there's a lot of scenes with them in this movie that feel like they are just like taking up time because they were in the first movie. So we're not just going to get rid of them, but it's like, okay, but they're not necessary. They're not adding anything to this story realistically, for a big chunk of it. One subplot in particular is the biggest example of that. But I'll get into it in the spoilers. But overall though, I do like this movie. I just don't like it better than the first one. I feel like this one is like two movies kind of competing against each other. But the Sonic part of it, which is majority of it, is really fun, good, interesting, funny. And I like that stuff.
Alex.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute and fun. I liked the change of scenery they had, and I'll go more into that in spoilers. I thought that was funny when I saw certain settings now. I agree with the humans. But they, in all fairness, they did try to send them away for the majority of the first part, the first act. All in all, I thought it was a very cute movie. And I love Tails. Tails was, reintroduced, and he or she, I guess. I'm so sorry. It's a he.
Tails is a he, but a woman plays the character. Just like how Timmy
Well,
Turner's a boy, but a woman's played Timmy Turner, does the voice.
Well, I also know that quite a few people have referred to Tails as a she as well.
It's because of the voice. A lot of people think because Tails is a fox and his voice is very light that he's a girl, but he's always been.
It's about. All right,
it's like the reverse Blue effect from Blue's Clues.
Yeah,
everybody thinks Blue is a boy just because she's blue.
That's true. That's gender stereotypes. I apologize to Tails for gender stereotyping him. No, but I did enjoy it. Tails was always my favorite character. I used to love his little tail doing the helicopter thing in the games. That was like my favorite thing to see. And I always try to do that in the games too. Anyway, I found any way that was possible, I would make it so that he had to use his little tail as a helicopter. But a big part of what I enjoyed about the movie was the different change in scenery and the settings and how they correlated to the actual old video games. And it was just like, oh, I kind of had that nostalgic feeling going on, more than I did with the other one, because the other one was so based in like, the one location, the one human world. This one felt more like you were traveling with him through the actual game, which was so much fun, because that's what you want to do with Tails. You don't want to really bring him into our world, or Sonic. I guess he's the main character, really. You want to, and like it goes for like most characters. You don't want them to bring them into our world. You want to go into their world, and you want to be with them on their levels. And you got to have that a little more in this movie, which I really amped it up compared to like the last one, where I understand, of course, it's the first one, so they're setting everything, the scenery, who they're trying to explain all the characters to people who are being introduced to Sonic. This one was a nice feel. It felt more for like the people who know who Sonic is really, and got to play with that. And I think it's kind of good. You're right, they didn't really need the human characters too much, but they did serve the purpose they were made for.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I liked this one. Now, granted, I watched the two movies back to back virtually. So I watched Sonic on Paramount Plus. Give us our coins, Paramount Plus. Shout out. I watched the first one on Paramount Plus the night before I went in theaters and saw Sonic 2, or the day before.
Did you go with anybody, or did you go by yourself?
No, I went straight from work, sat down, walked over to the theater from work, and sat down literally 10 minutes after I left work, because that's when the movie started. So I was like, oh, thankfully they have a showing at 4:10 that I can watch. Granted, it didn't start until closer to 4:30 because of the previews. But anyway,
go to AMC, because that's they're bad for that. They'll
no, this was the TCO
okay
theater. Yeah,
gotcha. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, it's fine.
But you have to set your setting well too in your stories to what's needed. You need to give us the whole scenery. What theater? What seat?
Right, exactly. I think it was F10. I want to say it was F10. So yeah, that was. I debated getting like some anyway. But yeah, so I had watched these movies virtually back to back, and I think I liked the second one better, just a little bit better. Maybe that was because I was actually in the theater. I got the full, experience. Or maybe it was like recency bias. It was the one I watched last, so it sticks out of my mind more. But I liked the adventure aspect. I felt like I was along for the ride. Like you, Alex, I feel like I like the different settings and locations that the film took place in. Unlike you, Jerome, though, I did really like the human scenes in the movie, the scenes with only humans in them. In fact, there's the one scene in particular, I think that we might be talking about, the extended human scene, that I think we talked about, that I think you might be talking about. And we'll definitely get into that in the spoiler territory. But I actually really enjoyed that scene. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it. Now, for spoilers, it's spoiler time.
So
we thank you for joining us. If you are not into spoilers, we'll see you. Follow us, the first ones to die.
Yeah, but you're gonna leave to go see Sonic 2, but just pause this, come back, and remember, then watch the rest of it.
Either remember what time you left off at, or if you're on Spotify, it already does that for you. So, all right. Now, you mentioned.
Well, it's not that I even didn't it's not that I didn't like the human characters. I still like them. I liked them in the first movie. I like them here. I think James Marsden and Tika Sumpter are cute. I liked Shamik more. Is it
Shamar
Shamik?
Moore.
Shamar Moore. I'm
Shamar
sorry.
Moore.
I don't know why I keep calling him Shamik. Shamar
I
Moore.
think there's an actor named Shamik.
Shamik something.
Anyway,
but Shamar Moore is great in this. He's very funny. I love Tika Sumpter's character's sister. She was in the first, Natasha Rothwell.
First of all, shout out to her. She's in Insecure. She plays Kelly in Insecure, and she's just like this in Insecure. Like she's a scene stealer in that show. She knows how to deliver a line. It doesn't matter what is written on that page. She will deliver it in the funniest way possible. And I've never seen anyone do it like she does.
Yeah, she was great. So I like all of the human characters. It's that they're unnecessary, because especially that whole wedding scenario, like at first it seems necessary because it's like James Marsden and Tika Sumpter are off. It's just, like Sonic calls them and it's just like, oh, that's where they're at, just so we know where they are. And then we get a few bits here and there, like the volleyball thing, all that stuff. But for the most part, it's like it's over there. It's not really part of the adventure. But then when Sonic and Tails appear there from the snow place and they get captured, I was like, okay, cool. So now we're gonna the adventure continues. No, the movie stops to have a whole thing involving Rachel and her wedding and the fact that Shamar Moore is actually a secret agent and that he tricked her and all this stuff. And I'm like, and while all of this is funny, it's very funny, it's very cute, we get a whole scene with Natasha Rothwell and Shamar Moore making up, and you see the plane go by and it's very like rom-com, but I'm like, I'm sorry, what movie are we in? None of this has anything to do with Sonic or his friends or the adventure they're on at all. It's just there because it's funny, and it's very, that's it. And it's like, I am laughing at the same time though. If we took this out of the movie, nothing would change. It would be the same story, because the story is Sonic and his friends stopping Eggman from destroying the world. So it's like, that's the only thing that took me out of it plot wise. If they were in the movie more, or if that plot was in the movie more, I would think it matters more. But because it's not, it just is like, oh, okay, I guess this is just here for
well,
jokes.
it was a secret. That's the whole thing, is they were all undercover agents. Of course,
No,
it can't be more
I
in the
don't mean
movie.
no, I don't mean like him being an agent. I'm saying him and her being together at all. We are just now being introduced
So
to
you're
this
trying
character.
to break up love?
Like we
Feels
just
like
now
you're trying
meeting
to break them
Shamar
up.
Moore. And then like I'm just saying, we don't see them start dating. We don't see the beginning of their relationship.
Why do
We don't see
you? Why
them
do? I feel like
him
you're
asking her to
asking
marry
for
her.
far too much from them, though.
What I'm
'Cause
saying,
they're not that important to have
that's
that
what
whole,
I'm
like,
saying.
story.
What I'm saying is, no, I'm not saying what I mean by it would make sense is that if we're gonna dedicate so much time to her driving this golf cart into the thing to blow it up so that she can confront Shamar Moore and the general real quick, and then have a whole thing, and then they have a whole conversation what I mean? If we're gonna dedicate so much time to that, you can't just pull that out of nowhere when it has nothing to do with the main plot of the story.
No, well, you said when you were speaking, you said, granted, it's funny, but I don't understand why it was in there. I think you explained the reason, because
it being funny doesn't excuse it being in there.
Yes,
it just makes it less of a
I think they realized. I think so. In the first movie, she was in like, not Natasha Rothwell. She was in like 2 scenes, and she stole those scenes. So I think that they were like, okay, we cannot underutilize Natasha Rothwell, and we got Shamar Moore now. We got to use them both. So they created that scene. They wrote that scene, and it was funny.
See, but I think and this is just because I went to film school, and the biggest thing you learn in school for film is to know when to kill your darlings. Like that's a scene that I am sure could have easily found its way on the cutting room floor, but for exactly the reason you just said, where it's like, well, we didn't really use Natasha Rothwell in the last movie really that much, so now we're going to give her a scene. It's like, okay, but is it serving the story though? It could be the funniest thing there ever was, but if it's not serving the story, I'm sorry, it don't need to be there. Even if you have this amazing actress and this amazing actor having a really funny, really good scene.
You're thinking too much of it as somebody on the outside instead of just a viewer. Because I didn't
even
think
as
about
a
that
viewer,
at all.
I laughed.
No.
I thought it was fun.
Wait, no.
But
I had not thought anything about that whatsoever. I was like, oh, funny, a wedding getting destroyed. You find out your husband's a secret. Like, I didn't need the backstory. I got it. They're at the wedding. This all is going down there. That's like it. My brain never went further than that. And that's what I'm saying. You're thinking about this from like your classes and stuff like this, and think about it from a directorial view and all that. But really, as like a common viewer, I just thought, hey, they are very attractive people, and this is a beautiful wedding. And fuck him.
I think it made.
Are they not?
I think it made sense.
I would love for them to have a real child in real life. That child would grow up gorgeous, flawless skin, both of them. Sorry, go ahead.
That's true.
I think it made sense.
I'll give you that.
I think it made sense in the scope of, so in the first movie, her character, you know, she was kind of seen as like the in-law that doesn't care about the husband and blah blah blah, and kind of like not naggy or just like side-eyeing all the time. Now they kind of gave her that arc where it's like, okay, yeah, she kind of has resentment for the husband, but she has this whole, you know, love story, and she's and you know, they're, and because of that love story, because of the wedding, well, at that point it was a fake wedding, but you know, anyway, because of that wedding, you know, they're able to bring in the ring, and you knew that was going to happen with the rings getting mixed up and everything.
See, that bit was funny. I loved that bit, but it felt so much more involved and invested because it was a part of the adventure. Like the fact that is his name Tom?
Mm-hmm.
In the movie?
James Marsden.
The fact that Tom accidentally switched the wings.
Switched the
rings.
He switched barbecue for lemon pepper.
The fact that he accidentally switched the rings, I was like, it made that instantly before they even like said it. He threw the ring and nothing happened. I was like, oh no. Like I was having a good time, but it made it feel like even that much more important because it was like a part of the story. Like every character was involved, including Sonic, who isn't even currently there, but he's still a part of that moment. As soon as we leave that place, even when her and Tika Sumpter team up and they're like, yeah, let's go like save Sonic and my husband. And they go, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to go and like, you go save your husband and Sonic. I'll go take care of my husband and kill him or whatever. And I was like, very funny line, very funny delivery. And it's like, okay, cool. And then she leaves and I was like, all right, cool. That's that. Then we go off on this whole adventure with her. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry. Whoa, what are you doing? We're going to see the whole story. I don't think I need the whole story. I'm just going to assume that she like confronts this man and everything works itself out. That's not important. What about Sonic and Tails? Are they dead right now? They could be dying for all we know. And meanwhile, we're spending all this time hanging out with these two people who aren't even a part of the story. Like, we don't care.
So it's needed for suspense for you to wonder. Although, again, this is a child's film. They're not going to go and actually kill Sonic and Tails.
You don't know that. We thought, you know who else thought that? Everyone that went to go see the Transformers movie. And you know what happened when they went to go see it? Optimus Prime died. The main character.
Actually, so that happened in like
never know. It could not happen. Yeah, exactly.
I said that exact same comment in The Secret Life of Pets, and I just love that moment where the brick falls on the snakes, and I'm like, oh my god, and Jonathan's like, no, it's okay, they won't actually kill it, and then they set the bricks on fire, and I was like, oh, they're making sure no, it's that. So fair enough. All right, but Sonic and Tails are like solid main, and I think they want to continue going on with this franchise because it's actually doing surprisingly well.
Now that being said,
Mhm.
though, all that other stuff, that one scene aside, the rest of the movie, I love this film. It's super cute. I love all the references. I especially love the reference to the fact that Sonic can't swim, especially because that was the big thing in Sonic 2 when Tails was introduced, that Tails would like save Sonic. And like if he drowned or whatever, he would like fly, he would use helicopter tails and bring Sonic back and stuff. And it was really cute. So I'm like, that's really awesome that they have that scene. Even when Sonic inhales the bubble, that's how you would do it in the game. If you were running out of air and the music was playing that you were running out of air, you would just have to find a bubble and you would inhale the bubble and get more air. I was like, that's awesome. That's really good.
You know, Jonathan, that makes you Tails because you're the only one that can swim and probably help us. Because I can't. And
Knuckles
I didn't realize.
Knuckles can swim.
Huh?
But he almost.
Neither of us can swim, so neither of us are Knuckles.
I guess that's true.
Well, I
But
can swim.
Knuckles nearly almost died because of drowning as well.
No, it's not that he died because of drowning. He's dying because a pillar had fallen on him, keeping him from being able to swim away.
And he was in the water. That means he drowns.
That would still be drowning. That would still be
Yes.
You know what I mean? Anyway.
When are we going to take swimming classes? You said you would go with me.
When I got time. This has been a crazy week.
Clearly, it's a life lesson we need.
2023, we'll add ASL. You'll add swimming to ASL.
Yeah, we're learning ASL and now we're learning swimming.
Yes.
We're gonna have to do something this
year of learning.
But, we're gonna have to learn something this year.
Yeah, this I loved all of the new characters, old characters, or returning characters rather, because it's only the second movie, so we can't say they're like old characters. But
well, they already were calling some of them like the old characters, like Jim Carrey's character, which people pointed out that this was released now after he said he's going to quit acting or he's retiring from acting. So people are like, this is his last acting.
Thinking about it. He hasn't confirmed if he's retiring for sure or not. He's just saying like he was thinking about it. So this may be his last film or it might not be. I guess it'll really depend on how much, because he really loves doing these movies. So I guess it'll depend on how much money this one makes. If they're going to make a third one, maybe he might come back.
Well, apparently he desires normality or really craves it or something. I don't know. That was for one of the interviews I read with him.
He's been working for a long time. Like he's been around for a long time. And that's even before he was acting, he was doing comedy for a long time. So he's been performing for a really long time.
In living color. In his most recent ventures, not most recent, but I just remember like a couple of years ago, when he would post his paintings of like a cracked out Trump or something. Like it would be like a disparaging image of Trump that he would paint, and he's a very talented painter as well.
It's so weird. So many actors are really talented painters. I'm surprised they actually picked Jim Carrey for this role.
He did such a. I remember
he did a good job. He did a good job, but
that it was surprising that I was also surprised they picked him for this role. Mostly because Eggman in the games, he's like evil. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, he is like although Jim Carrey did say he wanted to somehow, if they could find a way, wear a suit that would make him look more bulbous like the character, but the director just wasn't going for it. So it's not Jim Carrey's fault. Like he wanted to be that size. but it's like I remember just being surprised because like Eggman in the games is like an evil scientist, but he's not like loony. He's very aware and he's smart. He's just evil. In this, even in the first movie, I'm like, Robotnik is very eccentric and crazy on top of being evil. Like he's just a lunatic, but it works because it's Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey knows how to play those characters and make them still like fun and entertaining.
I think I would have liked to seen a more serious one because, like, don't get me wrong, I love this version and I like Jim Carrey. Um, but it does seem like he was playing a lot more goofier than what the role should have been. But then this is like a kids movie and they're trying to make it more silly, so it's less like intense. So I get the route they were going, but almost like how the Penguin was in the Batman, which it was Colin Farrell, right? I still can't believe that was him. That almost seems like that would have been the perfect robotic. He looked like him a little bit. Just give him a shaved head, and he was so serious, but also like, I don't care about anything or anything at all. Like he was dealing stuff in front of Batman. And so like I feel like that would have been a great vibe for him to have. But this one also felt like this one was very his version of Mr. Robotic or Mr. Eggman was very like manic. It's a more appropriate word.
Yeah. Although I did love
like
I loved his bit where he like once he got ultimate power and he had like the auto tune on his voice and he was like working it. And then I was like, that's funny. It made me laugh. I was just
I liked how in the first movie his head or his hair, he had like the fade, and it was like the classic like villain haircut on top. And then in this one, you know, spending all that time on the mushroom planet, he's just bald. The hair has fallen out.
Well, that was the
can't get the
no, he shaved it. Remember? Did you see the end credits for the first movie?
Oh, I didn't realize.
I don't remember those either.
In credits for the first movie is that he ends up on the mushroom planet, and then he's like he shaves his head bald to make himself like more aerodynamic or something. Like he you know, he talks about all types of stuff.
I don't think that's how that works.
And then he has the mustache. That was like people's big thing. The Sonic fans' big thing is that Jim Carrey's Robotnik in the first movie looked nothing like Robotnik from the game. And then, but then in the mid after credit scene for the first movie, it's like, see, he's got the stash, no hair, just like in the game. And at first, people weren't really feeling it. I thought it looked okay, and I like it in here too. I think it looks good. I still wish he would be a little more, you know, like definitely have the like big body, you know, be a little round. But overall, though, I mean, I think it still works. It worked for me.
You know what I thought was unnecessary in this movie? The dance off.
Yeah,
it went a little long.
Like you went on that rant about the way, but like the dance off was really unnecessary. Dancing and CGI characters and disco, or the disco lights they attempt to do, those don't all work right together.
Although, you know, I gotta give it to that dude though. Man, he was super fit. Like he was jacked.
Well, he could dance. He
could dance.
The thing that I was not super mad about, the thing that I was most mad about is that they played not even 24 Karat Magic. They played Uptown Funk, which is like, if you want to go to a song that is overplayed from 2013, then you choose Uptown Funk. I wish they would have chose something.
Pharrell's Happy song, because that would have drove me crazy.
Well, you can't really do a dance off to Happy.
I mean, you can't, but they'd find a reason to play it anyway.
I agree with you both. I'm so tired of Uptown Funk because I'll still hear it randomly, and it's just like, oh God, why?
And I love me some Bruno Mars, but just not that song.
See, I used to like Uptown Funk until I did the laser show, like Bruno Mars laser show with Uptown Funk in it, and I just got tired of it real quick.
Yeah.
That being said, also that was my other thing I didn't think quite worked. Not all the time anyway, is the blending between the Sonic characters and the real world. There are a lot of times where it felt like they were just like cut and pasted onto live action stuff for me. I don't know if that was like, I think it may have just been the lighting on the animation. It just didn't quite blend sometimes, not all the time. For me, but there were a couple times where I was like, I can tell that is clearly like an animated thing that has been cut out from like nothingness and put into this scene.
There were a couple times I did catch where the actors were speaking to like Sonic or one of the other CGI characters, and they were just like looking slightly off from where the character is supposed to be standing, but it was like enough where like I was able to notice it, but not enough where it was like something you could really comment on. Could be that they were just like, because I don't ever like sit or stand straight properly. So it's like something I would probably do, but at the same time, it's like, no, I feel like you should be actually making eye contact with this thing, right? It's what normal people do. Um, so I get what you mean where the CGI and the blending was off a little bit because that happened a couple times like that. Um, I will say the
That being
best thing with this film was the Sonic like lore or the exposure on the levels where they had the temple.
yeah,
That was the best thing I've ever
That
thought.
was awesome. That was a really fun way to end the film. I feel
yeah.
like
Well,
that
just
whole
in
the whole
the whole temple
aspect of the
thing
temple.
was dope. Which especially when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I know this level. I've
Right?
played this level. This looks awesome.
And that's what I meant. Like that's what I meant. They finally introduced like the levels because with characters you don't want to bring them into your world. You don't want to have like the characters you really love here. You want to be in their world. You want to be with them in their adventures and things like that. And I felt like we got that almost properly because he was teetering between this world and his world, but it almost like that part of that world was here and we could actually visit it and be on an adventure with Sonic compared to like other movies and shows where you have to travel through dimensions, time portals, and all this stuff to like get to their realm. It's made it feel more like that was there.
Which
Yeah.
this movie does what I've always said as far as like when they do video game movies, where I'm like, stop putting video game movies about animated characters in the real world because nobody cares. I don't want if I had to say the most boring action sequence in this movie, it's the one with Sonic in Seattle because I don't want to see Sonic
Oh, I kind of actually like that.
in the city. Like it was cute, it was interesting, but I was like, I didn't like it more than
Maybe I
Sonic
liked it
in
just
the
because it was
Temple.
Seattle.
I thought it was really cute.
cute.
I thought it was really cute.
But my guess is that it probably wasn't even Seattle. It was either like Toronto or Vancouver.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't think so.
Somewhat like Seattle. I saw some signs that made me think it was Seattle.
Seattle, the tax incentives are horrible. That's why
but,
nothing ever films in Seattle.
True. But it's like, that like I didn't like the Seattle segment more than I liked Sonic at the Temple or even Sonic in the snow level. Like, the places that made it feel fantastical and big, like the game were to me the most fun action sequences because that's the stuff I want to see on screen. I don't want to see Sonic hanging out at the Four Seasons or something like that, or going to the Sandals Resort real quick. Like you want to see Sonic in the fantastical world because that's where he comes from, not the other way around.
Does the Sandals Resort still exist?
I think so.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Jonathan?
I was just going to say, I think the reason why they be like putting the animated characters with the human, like live action world. So you're against like the live action aspect or just the like regular city and world aspect?
It's more the live action aspect because it's not even just Sonic. This is like all of them. The only one I gave a pass, at least for the first movie, the rest of them are trash, is Alvin and the Chipmunks. Because Alvin and the Chipmunks has always been like, even though it was a cartoon, it's always been they're in man's world, but they're singing chipmunks. But the rest of them, like the Smurfs, for example, why does the Smurfs take place in New York? They have their own realm in the forest. You don't need them to be with real people. But why? Because who are they going to relate to? It's like kids watch the Smurfs cartoon for years with no human characters.
I think the reason why they're doing these live action kind of like in the real world type stuff is so they can say, hey, there's a live action version of so and so. Also, two, because if it was just all animated, it would skew to a younger demographic and they want to get a variety of people. Like Sonic would not have made this much money, and it made a lot of money. It was like #1 at the box office if it was just an animated film, I don't think.
If this was before the Lion King days, like the new Lion King days, I'd believe that. but now that we've had the Lion King, a movie that's quote unquote live action, like, and is not, it's all CG, and people spent like, I think it made somewhere close to like $1 billion something or whatever. So it's like, it's possible. You just got to make your marketing really good.
But also that's
Really,
the
really
Lion
good.
King though.
I'm just saying, like, this
I
is
never
Sonic
saw
the
it.
Hedgehog. This is a huge franchise. It's almost on the same level as Mario at this point, which is why a lot of time, it was why A, Nintendo bought them, like bought Sonic, but also B, because why they always have games together, because they are like the two most famous game mascots of all time. It's the same thing with like Superman and Batman. Like, regardless of what the movie is, if Superman or Batman are in it, it will make money. Sonic and Mario are the same way. As long as Sonic and Mario are in it,
I don't
it will
know.
make money.
The Super Mario Brothers back from the 90s did
Now,
not
granted,
make money.
I will give
Who
you
was it?
that.
What is his name?
That,
What
but
is-
that's
what is
not
the actor
because
from it? Said it was that was
John Leguizamo, because
said that was the worst decision he has ever made in his whole career.
You know where they failed at,
That's
though?
the only thing he regrets
That
ever
movie
filming.
is nothing like Mario the game at all, and it's trash. Even if, but and I'm really worried they're gonna make the same mistake again, because Chris Pratt's supposed to be in this new Mario movie they're making.
Right.
But so I'm worried.
Did
that they're
you
gonna do
know? And I
another
just found this
live-action
out.
Mario.
Hold on. I'm super pissed about this. And I just learned this recently. Did you know Lee Pace tried out for Star-Lord?
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people tried out for
I think he would have been
I didn't
good.
know that Lee Pace had. I'm so pissed. I could have had Lee Pace instead of Chris Pratt as
I
Star-Lord.
like Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I think he fits that character.
I don't
really
care
well.
what you like. All right.
I mean, Lee Pace is great. He's very awesome. I'm glad he was in the
Lee
Marvel
Pace is gonna
universe
be
at
in that.
all.
Lee Pace is
He
going
was
to be in that
Ronan.
movie. He's going to be in that new movie. The trailer just dropped. I haven't watched it because I want to watch the movie. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
I haven't watched the trailer yet for that, but I hear it's good. I hear it's looking good.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
excited.
actually heard really great things about that. Still, I'm upset. We're gone.
But you know, I'm just saying, like, I'm tired of seeing. The only one I will give a chance to is, well, not only Sonic, because I like the first one, but also is this new Chip and Dale movie, because the trailer just came out for that.
Oh yeah,
that takes place in live action.
People are
too,
saying it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is like acceptable for me. I will take that. But
remember what back in the day when we used to be so like live action movies were a novelty. Scooby-Doo, when that came out, we were like, yes, Scooby-Doo.
We were amazed at
Scooby-Doo one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, but back to Sonic. I did love the live action aspect to it. I just wanted to, like Alex was saying, when it was like Sonic, though, like we're in the temple, we're dealing with only Sonic characters, including and Robotnik's included in that, even though he's a live action character. I'm like, yeah, but he should be the only one because he's human. Everybody else, though, should be either animated animals like Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic, or robots. So, because that's what Sonic is. And when it's that, like, the movie is even better than it already was when it was just Sonic in the real world. I loved all that stuff. It was really good.
All right.
That being said, what do you guys think about Sonic? Not Sonic, Knuckles. Because we haven't really talked about Knuckles that much. And he's like he was like one of the big selling points for this movie, was that Knuckles is going to be in it.
All I'm gonna say is that I was confused by Idris Elba's accent. I thought it was going in and out at some points, and I'm not sure what accent
he wasn't doing an accent. He's using his natural speaking voice.
Well, it
Really?
didn't sound.
Yeah.
It didn't sound. Yeah, it sounded like he was.
It's just the inflection he was using his voice on. He was trying to be like very, I am a hero. That is me. I am Knuckles. Like he was trying to do that kind of like hero talk, like warrior, like or not warrior. Yeah, kind of like a warrior, like, you know, like stoic warrior inflection. But that's his normal voice, is like his normal speaking voice. It's just the inflection he did on his voice is weird, though.
Yeah, no, I agree with Jonathan. I thought he was trying to do an accent or something, or like try to hold back his accent as strongly. I was confused by that too. So I'm with you on that. But Knuckles, I don't know. I didn't pay him too much mind, honestly, because like I guess I knew his story too. Also, like Knuckles, like really quickly turned like his story was understandable. He just wanted to go back home, basically. In the end, it was always about going back home. You always got to root for that.
Yeah, I liked Knuckles in this a lot. He used to be my favorite Sonic character. Till I found out, till Shadow came around, and then I was like, Shadow's my favorite character. But Knuckles is really it's really cool actually that they did, because they did the story from the game when Knuckles is introduced. That is the story, is that Robotnik tricks Knuckles into thinking he wants to help him protect the Master Emerald, and then you play through the game with Knuckles as like a bad guy, and then halfway through, when Robotnik steals the Emerald, Knuckles helps you and you team up with him, and throughout the rest of the game, then Knuckles becomes like a friend, kind of like how Tails was, because that's Sonic 3, I think.
How do you remember all of this?
Yeah,
because I'm a
was the
huge
recall?
Sonic fan. I love Sonic. Sonic 2 is Sonic and Tails. Sonic 3 is Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, listen, I'm a proper nerd. I'll have you know. And so it's like, I thought that was really cool that they pulled that for the plot of this story. That's why I mean by like, I like Sonic 1 better, because I think as a movie it just makes more sense. The plot is more concise and cohesive. But this one, I love, if like outside of like the few times where we just had unnecessary detours, like if those had been removed from the movie, I would like this movie way better, because I think it's even closer to the games than even the first one got. And there's so many awesome references that feel like they're part of the story and not just a detour for the sake of being like, remember the games? Like, yes, I do. I'm looking at the movie. But instead it's like, no, those things are a part of the plot. Like even the supersonic thing at the end, I was like, oh shoot, supersonic. I remember that from the games. That's so cool. And that was awesome.
Yeah,
so
I think that's one of the reasons they're having such success, especially after that whole beginning when they first started and they gave that weird Sonic looking thing first, the humanoid Sonic. I think the reason they're having such success with Sonic, the movies, and nobody really seems to have too bad of a take on it, is because they're actually sticking to the game story. They're not delving into like the later versions where it got all complicated. They added more characters, all this stuff. They're going back to like, here's the first couple Sonic games. Here are the stories in them that were like simple and easy to follow, because it was like on a Sega station and you only had so much memory. So you couldn't have a whole like fucking story being told to you and meeting every other person who has a story. So they're like, look, this is what's going on. Play the game. So I think that's what's really helping with this. They're not overcomplicating the story. They're not adding unnecessary details to Sonic's background, to Knuckles or Tails. They're like, look, you remember these guys? You remember them from the first couple games? If you do, here are they again. And then they gave us Green Hill, level, which was great.
I mean, kind of, because it's still not quite Green Hill Zone, but I dig it.
What they modeled, I think, it after.
Yeah.
More so.
I also love that Tom's ringtone is the theme though from Green Hill Zone.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cute. Yeah, I just love the characterization of Knuckles in this, because Knuckles he's always had a different character depending on what they want to do with him. Like Tails has stayed Tails since like they gave that character a voice in like the first cartoon, but Knuckles has had like multiple different versions of how they wanted to do Knuckles. They've always stuck with that he's a warrior, but as far as like how he sounds and what he sounds like has always changed. So I like Idris Elba's take on Knuckles, where he's kind of, a lot of people have been comparing him to Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, in that he doesn't really get sarcasm, or he's always serious and everything is a challenge. Like even when they're playing baseball at the end, he's just like, I will defeat you, Fox, to the base of ball. It's just like, all right, dude, calm down.
Dramatic.
Yeah, he's very dramatic. But I think that's cool because it's like now we have three very distinct characters. You got Sonic, who's the normal one, Tails, who's the techie nerdy one, and then you got Knuckles, the like strong dumb one, the dramatic one. I'm really, yeah, they got their own tropes. I also love thinking, especially with James Marsden and Tika Sumpter's character, thinking of them as like kids and not where they're all children.
That was my speaking of kids, and that was my other thing, and I'll just mention this. In the first one, it was definitely suggested. It was like not suggested, it was told to us like, you're my friend. Friendship never ends. You're my friend. Now in this one, it's like, you're my son.
Yeah,
you're my
thanks,
son.
Dad.
Right.
Yeah, they like mentioned that they're like, oh, we adopted Sonic, and it was kind of weird.
I already assumed Sonic was a kid though. Like even in the first one, I'm like, you're a child. I mean, the games have never treated Sonic that way. The games have always treated Sonic as like he's an adult, more or less.
I'm surprised they just. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but the movies have always kind of, though, at least the way he acts and the way he does things. I'm like, you're definitely a kid. You do the things kids would do. You don't do anything that adults would do.
I'm surprised they didn't go the route of maybe in the first one, like they've had trouble having a baby or something. They've wanted a baby, they've wanted a kid, but they've had trouble, having one.
And then now there's an alien creature. Here you go.
Actually, yeah, they are the most well-adjusted couple I have ever seen in any movie. Like they're always very supportive. They never question any, like when like weird stuff's going on, there's never a misunderstanding. There's never any questions. Even in the first movie, when James Marsden's character is going on this adventure and then he shows up at Natasha Rothwell's character's house with Sonic, he tells Tika Sumpter's character the whole thing, and she's just like, okay, cool. So what do we gotta do? Let's go. Like how we would, like she's just ready to just believe.
She had like a brief freak out, but that was very brief.
And then she's just like ready to go. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are relationship goals to the max. Because
that's the proper relationship. Like you should be there to support. Be like, all right.
Rain, sleet, snow, or interdimensional alien, we are together forever.
Do you think they'll ever get Sonic the Hedgehog an actual hedgehog pet?
I don't think they will. That'd just be that'd be weird. Dumb, but also it'd be demeaning. Also, I know exactly what they're gonna do because this movie, it's like I can see the writing on the wall now. First movie, just Sonic and Sonic gaining a family. Second movie, Sonic now finally has friends. Like that was the point of this movie.
But that feels like they're gonna end up being brothers because they're gonna probably, because those Knuckles and Tails are just out there in the world too now, so they probably adopting them.
Well, they do at the end with them doing the baseball game. Like those are his like adopted brothers. And then third movie, I can see it now. Amy's coming in because now it's Sonic gets a girlfriend because he's gonna be like, well, you got you James Marsden, you have Tika Sumpter, and y'all love each other. I don't have no one to love. And then in comes Amy, who's Sonic's only love interest that he's ever had, and is also a hedgehog. And the new villain, Shadow, because they set that up in the mid-credit scene for this movie, which is interesting because that's like a whole other bunch of backstory. Shadow is when the game started getting. Shadow is when the game started getting a little more complicated with backstory and information. But I can see it. I can see them like getting Amy or whatever. My casting choice for Amy, Tina Fey. Calling it now. Or Amy Poehler. Either or.
No.
I say Sofia Vergara, personally. But
Sofia Vergara would be interesting. I guess it'd be an interesting choice. Sonic, oh my God. It's just it'll be that the whole time.
I don't think Tina Fey now.
No. Ooh, Aubrey Plaza.
So you're thinking some sort
Aubrey
of
Plaza,
like comedian,
Aubrey.
Or some sort of.
I was trying to think.
So you're thinking, Jerome. You're thinking some sort of like someone who's known for being funny.
I think it's more. I'm thinking of like what white woman has the most generic white woman voice ever. That's who they'll get to play Amy. I don't think they're gonna go any further, like, anywhere outside.
Oh, then yes. No, then if you're going that route, then yes. I agree with your comment. Yeah, then yeah, I agree with them.
Well, because they got Ben Schwartz, who is like the most generic white man voice you could have got
Yeah,
to play Sonic.
but he still has like that fun affliction in his voice.
Yeah, that's what he has, like a playfulness, and
he has a cartoony voice.
He does. He has a cartoony voice. Even like I've watched the first like four or five episodes of the After Party that he's in, and he's a fool in that show. And he's a character.
Also, anybody here fans of Parks and Rec? No. You guys.
Now, if you talk about Abbott Elementary, then we're talking.
Listen, I know that the show is paying you to promote it, okay? But listen, we have to talk about some other shows sometimes, Jonathan.
Parks and Rec is just a very white show for me.
I only
it's the same way with The Office too. Like those shows are like.
I only ask because Ben Schwartz is in that, and there are two references in this movie that are references to Parks and Rec that he does. The only one I forget the second one. The first one is when he's like, he's the word. Like that's from
he does. He breaks out and singing. My favorite. I have watched Parks and Rec. My favorite is nearing that end of the series. Actually, I think it is the last episode of the series. They faked his death, and he's like, "Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. And don't be." And they're like walking away from his grave doing that. And now when I see people like trying to sneak around or do something, all I think in my head is don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. So like it's made an impact in my life.
It's also a popular sound on
that's where it comes from.
TikTok. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, all right.
Overall,
great.
What are your grades and overall thoughts? Yeah, sorry. I was going the same place.
There's a bit of a lag with us sometimes, guys, if you haven't noticed. For my rating, I'm gonna give this like a B-. It's not something I'd probably go back to visit, but like I had fun watching it. It's a cute movie. I enjoyed the characters. I love Tails, and also just that little hits of nostalgic it had more towards the end than the beginning, but definitely in the ending it hit more nostalgic points that like brought me in. Had they maybe done that a little bit sooner, but I kind of get what they were doing with the speed and how they were introducing everything. I probably would have paid more attention to it earlier, but no, it was a cute film. It was fun. And I don't really have any major complaints about it other than like once in a while, like the CGI was off. But other than that, yeah, I don't really have that much complaints other than it's not really like a movie I would like go out of the way to see in general, because usually when it does comes to film like this, they do go off like their own little lore, or they start going from like older games that are more complicated. This was nice. This was like first generation Sonic, and I could really connect with that, where the storylines were just simple. And I like that they kept that simplicity of the simple storylines where they're like, this is the character, they're like their generic story, this is what we're going with, instead of going into like the whole history line of like Knuckles. So a solid B- for me. I think it's a good film, and I definitely suggest people go out and watch it, but probably not something I'm going to return to, honestly. What about you, Jonathan?
So I'll probably give it a B+. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a little bit more. I enjoyed Sonic, the original one, but I think I enjoyed this one a little bit more. I like the adventure aspect of it. I like that we got a little moment in Hawaii. I appreciated that we got to see Alex, like you mentioned at the beginning, different settings. My I had a little concentration issue with Idris Elba's accent, because I thought he was putting on a little bit of a different one for some reason. And I didn't mention this in our review, but I am upset that they did not make a clever reference to the fact that they redid the whole look of Sonic in the first movie. I wish like there would have been a line about like, hey, Sonic, did you get your teeth done or something? Your teeth are looking good. Or something like that. I wish they would have done something.
it's over now. Okay,
I get what you
No.
mean. Like, no,
we don't want to rethink about that. Okay, we don't want to. We're
everybody's thinking about
Sony.
that.
We don't want to think about our mistakes. Actually, this isn't Sony. This is Paramount Plus or Paramount. But it's like Paramount's like, look, we know we messed up. We don't want to tell you. We don't want to think about it.
I
Everyone
think it
else
would have
keeps
been
talking about
cute
it.
had like Tails been looked at him and been like, "You look a little different. Does this universe make us look different or something?" Like, I think that would have been like a funny wink too. But so B plus.
B plus for me. And Jerome, how about you?
It's also a B plus for me as well. I love this movie for just like giving me all of my Sonic games in movie form. Like even when they announced the movie, that was all I wanted is Sonic in movie form. And this movie gives me that in spades, but even more so with all the great references, all the great moments, especially when Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic work together at the end of this movie. I was like, yo, I'm watching Sonic Heroes like come to life right now. This is awesome. So it's like I love all of that stuff. The only thing that just brings the movie up short for me is some of the CG not really blending well with the live action. Those few scenes in there that just feel like they are just unnecessary to tell the story, but are only there because you got these characters and they're just kind of around. But outside of that stuff, the movie is still fun. If you take your kids to see this movie, they are going to have a fantastic time. It's going to make them laugh and just have a ball. If you're an adult and you're a huge Sonic fan, I think you'll get a lot out of it. So I think overall, this is just a great movie viewing experience. And while I don't know if I'd like necessarily just watch like Sonic 2, just like put on Sonic 2, if it's on TV and I'm like surfing through, I'd stop and watch it and finish it. And it was enjoyable. I had fun.
Nice. Well, speaking of fun, you can find us having a lot of fun over on the first ones to.
That genuinely startled me.
I'm in my Jim Carrey moment. Speaking of fun, you can find us at the first ones to die on Instagram, Twitter, all of the social medias, YouTube, TikTok. You can also email us the first ones to die at gmail.com. Where can we find you at, Alex?
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, and the aforementioned TikTok, the podcast. I'm the one who runs it, posting little clips of things from the show that are especially funny or the faces and reactions of us. I'm also now doing a blog for the podcast, kind of talking about the daily, what we go through the daily, trying to work with this, and also little personal stuff on the side. But also open to have you guys let us know, what you want to have us see, review things before we review it, and, give us your suggestions or ideas, or, just talk. Because again, I quit my job. Woo! So I have plenty of time to chat right now. What about you, Jerome? Where are we finding you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, Facebook, other places. Not really, actually, just Instagram. I got lost in what I was saying because I'm so used to talking about the first ones to die social media stuff. So my bad. So you can find me specifically at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram, as well as at RoboZoo Media and at Jerome_the_show for other creative stuff I am working on. As far as the podcast, though, you can find us at The First Ones to Die on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all types of social media platforms. If you want to find out more, extra stuff we got going on, going to the YouTube page, you can find all types of extra content, stuff like vlogs, gaming videos, bookcast, mini reviews, and video versions of all the podcasts as well. So,
and Mr. Jonathan?
Yes, you can find me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. Next week, just me and Alex next time, and we're going to be talking a little bit of reality TV. Big Brother Canada, it is ending for those who are watching, who have been watching. We're going to talk about that reality TV stuff, and it'll be fun.
I still want to watch that show called Love Trap. It is in the UK where they eliminate their contestants by literally sending them through a trap door. Oh, I bet I can watch that now. All right, I'm gonna go watch that so we have more reality TV to talk about. But
Nice.
till
All
next
right,
week.
we'll see y'all next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.